Hello, this is Cryptolyze. I hope you're doing well. This Thursday, February 22, 2024, we meet today to talk about DYDX, the crypto of the DYDX protocol, which is a decentralized exchange. And as usual, we're going to cut this video into two parts. Fundamental part, we will come back to what DYDX is. A technical part, where we will go to the graphs to project ourselves in the short, medium, long term on purchase prices, sales prices, and we start immediately by explaining what is DYDX. So it's a decentralized exchange. So you have to understand that this is something that is different from what we can know with Binance, with Bybit, with BitGet, which are companies that keep your cryptocurrencies, which will provide you with tools to be able to make trading, but who retain possession of your cryptocurrencies while you are using the platform. A decentralized exchange, as we have known with, for example, Uniswap, it is an exchange in which you have your wallet, you have your own cryptos, and you are able to make an exchange, transform your USDT into ETH, for example, and your ETH to USDT without necessarily having to give ownership of your cryptocurrencies to anyone, even if only temporarily. And that's a big advantage. It's what allows us not to go through intermediaries, and it's what avoids crises like FTX, for example. But the question is, okay, what do I want to do if I ever want to move on? Really doing trading, leverage trading, into a platform that is professional or semi-professional. If I really want to have consistent tools, if I want to have the most liquid liquidity possible and the least possible spread, the spread being the difference between the moment when I can buy and the moment when it was actually purchased, the average purchase price of the trade that I made, and precisely, DYDX is exactly the answer to that. It's a tool that is professional, semi-professional, in which you have access to everything and in a decentralized way. That is, you have your wallet and it is only your wallet. You do not deposit funds with a third-party company, and in fact there is no problem at FTX as you might expect. So DYDX was initially directly instantiated on a technology which is StarX. StarX, which depends on Starkware. Therefore Starkware, which is also the company which recently launched StarkNet, the ZK rollup which we find on Ethereum, which is one of the most interesting technologies currently on the market. And its token was released recently. So that was before they migrated a short time ago to the Cosmos ecosystem to be dependent on, and in fact automatically manage their own blockchain, so it works quite well. It was done in the most intelligent way possible, in which in fact we do not feel the friction at all during the passage. And what's interesting is that the first time I presented DYDX to you, we talked about this party, which was at the time when we had $875 million, volume and approximately 286,000 traders for open interest of 299 million. Now we are... We will follow a little bit. You will see that we have a trading volume which is still much higher. We took $30.11 billion. 680,000 trades, so it's much higher than what we've seen there. On the other hand, we can clearly see the open interest which has decreased between the two. Because we have a market that is much less leveraged than when I made a first video for you on DYDX. What is also interesting to see is that DYDX is managed by a DAO in which we have the possibility of knowing what will be voted on, what will be carried out, and in particular, the liquidity pools and the increase in the pools of liquidity. Liquidity is managed by this governance. Therefore, holders of the DYDX token can participate in all these votes, which is rather positive unlike what we can experience on centralized platforms. It's a little bit what comes closest for me in a form of real decentralization and accessibility. After what will be missing and something that will certainly happen over time, it will be accessibility to the use of wallets, and that will happen with account extraction on notably Ethereum and the equivalent. On the Cosmos ecosystem, but that will come later. In terms of the token itself, we are starting to have a certain number of unlocks, and that is why, since November 2023, we have seen that we have complexity in terms of the course. We will see it in a few moments in terms of graphics, but we have a release which is much more aggressive in terms of tokens, and with a big unlock which has taken place, and we see that this unlock will continue until June approximately. We can clearly see that we have this big acceleration phase until June, and then we will start again with something which is much more smoothed on 2024. 2025, 2026, 2027, 2028. So we will have much more time to have smoothing of tokens afterwards, but there, It's true that we have, yes, downward pressure, which is very significant. In terms of the token itself, if we go down, yeah, I put it there, TAC, we look at the equivalent on CoinMarketCap. We see that we are on a diluted market cap of almost $3 billion, with a classic market cap of $2 billion, therefore. Quite little, in fact, for one of the main players in the ecosystem of decentralized exchanges, which still works very, very well, so it is also a narrative which could be played out on the next bull run, and which we must keep in mind. Decentralized exchanges will be able to have an important role. Typically, we are in a phase of hyperacceleration at launch, retracement with dilution of the token, which is rather classic, which also takes us into a phase of long accumulation, accumulation phase in which we made our lowest in June 2022, therefore Celsius, which we subsequently retested here in December 2022 after FTX, but we see that we held the lower, and since then we are rather in a phase of bullish structure, of bullish accumulation, in which we have something which is very constructed and very, very clean. We see that we have many acceleration phases with a break of structure, a retest. We make a low which is higher than the previous one. So we also have a trend which is taking place, and we see here on the other hand from November 2023, a very significant downward pressure. We see it really strong here, while we had a BTC price which was pushing. So we had the October phase with the hyper-acceleration of DYDX, the dilution phase which took place here with the unlocking of the tokens. And I think a dilution phase which will therefore continue until June 2024, before in fact seeing a new return of the bullish cycle. So this implies that we could go and potentially retest here the lots that were made there. So with a retest of the wicks around 225, 223, in which we could have a new interesting price to strengthen the positions existing or to expose you if you are interested in this narrative. What can we expect for the evolution of DYDX? What is the price on the end of the bull run that we could see? Already, there are key levels which will be very, very important. For me, this is going to be the breakup of the 10. This is something that will be very complicated, in which we see that we have maintained this level for a certain time. And we see that once we broke, we had a staircase shape. So we had a lot of volume, a lot of buyouts that took place, and that means that it's a level in which a lot of people are stuck. So clearly, when we arrive in the 10, there will certainly be a form of sell-off. It will not be far from an X3, X35 compared to currently. And when we look at those who held out until the lowest, that will be close to 1 times 10. So we actually have a sell-off zone around $10. $10 will represent a diluted market cap of $10, $11, $12 billion, which is all in all correct compared to this type of ecosystem. What is really the right price if we ever have a narrative that is set up at the end of the bull run? Clearly, we could go for a DYDX in the surroundings here of the 1620, or even why not look for the top in the surroundings of the 30. That implies that we are making an X10 compared to the diluted market cap now. That would make a diluted market cap in the region of $30 billion. So at the end of the bull run, with a speculation part around decentralized exchanges, an increase in volumes, it seems coherent in terms of objectives. Afterward, as always, it all comes down to whether or not you are interested in this token, in the project, and to expose oneself to this type of project. It is always a choice, which is 100. Staff. I hope you like this video. If so, don't forget before leaving to leave me a little like and a comment. It supports the channel, and above all, it makes me very happy. And we see each other very quickly for a new video.